He is a great human being and a great speaker. So we'll talk more later on. With that, we'll introduce our speaker, your guest speaker today, Colin Stevens.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Mark. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
All right, that's some good energy. I dig it. So, yes, my name is Colin Stevens. I am a Coastal Carolina grad, and I have started my own business here. I am a basketball coach and a family man. I love my wife and kids, and I love the opportunity to get to speak to groups about teamwork. So basketball is in my veins. Do we have any sports people here? Like, you like sports. You don't have to play it, you know. Okay, so, but regardless, the coolest thing to me about sports is that it applies to so many different parts of life, right? And so teamwork and how good teams function, teams are all around us. Our families are teams, right? Each one of our stores are teams, businesses are teams, right? Our communities are teams. And so it's really important that we understand what makes great teams achieve greatness, right? Because everybody wants to win, and whatever it is that you're doing, you want to know that you're doing well, right? You want to do the best you can with your family. You want to do the best you can in your business, right? And so there's a few things that I'm going to throw at you, all right? And they're going to be C's, all right? We're going to focus on C for a little bit here, all right? So one of the key components that a great team has is a common goal. All right? So when a team has a common goal, that means that everybody on the team knows that there is a higher achievement, because this is the thing. A team is made up of a bunch of individuals, right? It's made up of a bunch of individuals. I am a basketball coach. I just finished coaching a high school team. We just finished up our season, and we came up a little short from what we expected. And maybe it was from what we expected as coaches, maybe not so much what they expected as players. Because the reality is that everybody on the team has to buy into the common goal. Because if not, you have a bunch of individuals that have their own goals, right? We're all part of a team, but we individually, we want to make our money. We want to be able to have our time off. We want to be able to do this, and we want to be able to do that, right? But it's amazing when everybody buys into the team goal, then they get their individual goals met as well. But on the contrary, if we have people focusing on their individual goal, it's very difficult for the team goal to be achieved. And it's amazing, like if we could just all buy into the fact that there's something bigger that we're shooting for, and that vision has to be continually pushed to the team, right? We have to understand that this is the goal, not the little individual goals. They will come. It's amazing. If you put hard work in and you treat people right, those individual goals come based upon your talent and your ability, right? And that goes across the board. And so a common goal is so important. Another C that is very important is that they stay connected. All right, so a team that stays connected, to me, looks like this. Go work. All right. Now imagine if you guys go into your stores and that's how you start your days, right? Now in sports, we also use a little, slap on the butt. I don't recommend that in the corporate setting, all right? Right? Mark's he's never gonna invite me back, all right? But there's a way that you can stay connected that makes your people feel like they're a part of the team, because that part is massive, right? So a high five, a fist bump, a lot of times in business, it's a handshake. But then when you get close with somebody, there's some sort of other embrace that shows that you care a little different, right? That says, hey, we're doing something together, we're winning. That's a fist bump. That's an embrace, And sometimes you have people that are on your team that aren't doing so great. And maybe it's an embrace of, I just care. I'm here, right? And so they great teams stay connected. If you watch sports or you watch in anything, you watch politics, you will see that they stay connected. It's so important. There's something magical about it, something that I think that God just wired in our bodies, that it's important for us to be in community and stay connected. And then the last thing I just kind of mentioned is that you care. And that every team member cares for one another. Because if you care, you can't achieve a goal and not care about how somebody's doing. You can't, right? I mean, it is impossible for us to go in and just say, and us as leaders to say, all right, we just got to get the results. We got to get the results. And then somebody's coming in and they might be broken. They might be having just hardship. Family might not be going so well, or there's a lot of other things happen outside of the workplace, right? And so if we are not aware of it, and we're just results driven, and we miss the part of where we're caring about them, we're missing the boat of leadership altogether. Because we get a chance. I mean, think about it. The people in your lives when you were coming up, when you were in high school, when you were in college, when you were young in your careers, think about the people that made you feel special, that made you feel like you could do something more. You'd go to bat for them, wouldn't you? You'd do extra work for them, wouldn't you? Even if they didn't ask. Because you're inspired by the way that they care about you. And so as leaders, that's not just a responsibility, it's a beautiful opportunity for us to get to speak into the lives of some people that we work with on a regular basis. But we have to care. And if you care, that means that you can't just be focused on yourself. You see, we also live in a world that says, get yours. Just you. Nobody's going to take care of you. You got to do your own thing. We live in that world. Our kids are growing up in that world. But it doesn't mean that we have to take part in it. And it's so important that we also align ourselves with others that understand that we need each other. And if you know that, look, if you know your team members know that you need each other, you'll do extra for each other. In the sports world, you see it. Now, if somebody misses an assignment, the other guys on the team go, that's not my responsibility. The really good teams, they just cover it. They just go handle it. And it's the same thing. Somebody didn't get the green beans, right? Somebody didn't make the biscuits on time. Then somebody doesn't say, that's not my responsibility. Hope they get their stuff together. A good team goes, no, I got you, right? And then when you see that happen, there's people out of the corner there. Somebody at the drive-thru might have seen that and said, I can do a little extra. It's contagious. It's contagious. When you care about somebody, you care about your team, and you stay connected and you have a common goal, those are special teams, right? And it's not just in the business world or in our workplace, it's also in our families. Because this is the reality, is everybody goes home from work to somewhere, right? Guys, it's who we are. And so if it's who you want to be, if you want to be a team player, if you want your team to follow your lead, then it's so important that we set the tone. So what does that mean in us setting the tone? I think energy is enormous, especially for leaders. And I'll tell you one thing when I greeted you guys sent some love my way, right? And that's so impactful, because every day we set the tone for what the energy in our place is going to be like, whether it's our home or whether it's our store, whether it's our community, who we meet day in and day out. We set the tone for what the energy is going to be. And if we would all accept that, then we're no longer victim to all the junk that happens, right? Because it's all around us. It's just what we're going to focus on. We can focus on all the stuff that's happening. So problems and drama, and we can do that. Or we can understand, there's problems and drama. I'm going to be a solution finder, right? That's what I'm not going to feed the drama. I'm not going to feed the problems. I'm not going to feed those things. I'm going to spend more time bringing everybody up. And you know what? We all have that choice. It is truly a choice. And it's so important for us as leaders that we have other people around us that are also leaders that can say, hey, how you doing? Because the reality is that just like I said, it's a choice on how we are acting, but this is the reality, is if we aren't filled up with goodness, then we can't give out goodness. And so I think it's so important as leaders that we have to make sure that we're filling ourselves with the good stuff. And if you're going to fill yourself with good stuff, if you're going to fill your mind and consume good information, if you're going to fill your mind with stuff that's good on social media, if you're going to fill your mind with stuff that's good on TV, if you're going to surround yourself with people that are going to put goodness in you, it's going to come out. But if we keep absorbing the stuff that's just trash, right? If we keep bringing the stuff in that's negativity, and then that's what's going to come out of us. So my question is, who or what can you cut out? That is John Gordon says, energy vampires. People that drain you. All right, as a coach, I have parents talking to me all of the time. And every one of them thinks their kid is the superstar. It can't be, right? There's no way I can have a team of 12 and 12 superstars. Doesn't even happen in the NBA. And so there's some of those parents that I'm learning. I'm still growing and learning. But man, if I give them an inch, they will take 2,000 yards. And it's rarely the ones that respect my time and give goodness back to me. It's the ones that just want to drain and take and just, you know what I'm saying? And so you know what I've learned to do? I don't have to pick up the phone call. I don't. And you know what? It's amazing when I make that choice, I'm not letting it in, I'm setting the tone for what my life is going to be like. And so now I don't have to listen to this crazy parent and then my kid over here does something and I'm barking at them. They didn't do anything different. I'm just aggravated because I have to deal with this. But it's amazing. If I set the tone with my relationship with that person and say, no, you can't come in this space. No, there's only goodness that's coming in here, right? There's only positivity that's coming in here. When I set that boundary, and I'll be honest, guys, I have an awesome wife and she helps me set that boundary. Because boy, does she get mad when I field one of those phone calls and I bring some nasty energy into my house. She said, "You can leave. You know, you could go out the door and come back in and change it, right?" And but she's part of my team that helps me become better. I'll be honest, I'm also part of a group that meets on Tuesday mornings. That they're just guys that just pour into my life. And it's a small group, and we share intimate stuff about our life, and I leave there like, man, I can take this somewhere else and pick other people up. It's so important that we just get plugged into goodness. But I'll be honest, you can be plugged into goodness and you can still have negativity and junk in your life, and it makes it really hard to proceed with that great energy every day. It makes it really hard to lead. And now you can't just cut everybody out of your life that doesn't do what you want them to do. Right? Right? No, I mean, look, that sounds like it'd be a great idea.
Let's show the stores to get open.
One at a time.
Right? We can't do that, nor are we called to as leaders. We're called to set boundaries. We're called to teach people. We're called to love people in a way that doesn't really make sense. Because we're the leaders. We set the tone. And if we're filled with that love that doesn't make sense, we can give it out. Right? But I'm telling you guys, like social media, I'll be honest, social media is neutral. Who you follow on social media is what gives it power. Right? Money is neutral. Right? It's how you use your money that gives it power. And power is neutral. How that power is used is what gives it power. And so we all live in those worlds where we have to be more mindful, more intentional of what we're consuming, because that's what's coming out of us. And so that's where I say, hey, let's make a few cuts. Let's go on social media, unfollow that. that's not putting goodness into me. Because all of us can agree that we want to be great in what we do, right? We want to be great. And it's not easy to be great. It's not easy. That's why 80% of our world is mediocre, because that's easier. And so this is the challenge. There's a generation coming up that may or may not to want to put a whole lot of hours in. Right? Right? Now look, I can't blame the whole generation, because I have a young lady over here who is an intern for us who's fantastic. All right? And look, I called her right outside the office. I said, "Are you having any trouble finding it?" She said, "No, I'm waiting on you in here." Oh. Sir. Right? So there are young ones coming up that they will grasp onto it. If you lead them, they will grasp onto it. And they'll say, "Yes, I want to be great too." Right? We can't just assume that this young generation coming up just doesn't want to do anything, so just, hey, let's see if we can skip them and go to the next one. Right? Right? We can't assume that. There's people in that generation that also want to be great, but they're waiting to be led. They're waiting to be taught. They're waiting to be inspired. And so that's how we should live as leaders, right? And so it's so important. But a great team, guys, a great team has a common goal. They stay connected, and they care about each other. And as leaders, we are the ones who set the tone. That's what I got for you. That's it.